Hey guys, it's Alice. So I know I'm very red and shiny and it's summer, it's like 25 degrees out. I have sunglasses, tan lines, give me a break. I'm wearing a beach cover up. I feel like I should put something else on. I feel like this is not... this is a bikini, by the way, just so everyone knows. I'm wearing this shirt a lot actually, I really like it. It used to be my dad's. Back to business. Hey guys, if you haven't seen me before, my name is Alice. It is lovely to meet you. I'd really like it if you could like and subscribe to this video, that would mean the world to me. I'm sweating in this shirt already. So today's video is going to be my June wrap up, and I've read a ton of books for the month of June. I'm so happy. It's coming towards the end of June, but I'm filming this early, so there is a book that I hope to have finished by the end of June, but I think I'll just include that in my July wrap up instead, because that just makes my life easier, so I can get this up now. I read a decent amount of books this month. I've read 8 books. Well done me. Mainly because I went on holiday and in a week I read 6 books, so I'm so happy with myself. Look at this stack. And to be honest, they're mostly contemporary books, but okie dokie. The first book that I read in the month of June, I started on the 24th of May and finished on the 8th of June, and that is Children of Blood and Bone by Tommy Adeyemi. I gave this book 4 stars, and see, everyone really loved it, but I liked it but wasn't obsessed with it. This book is about a girl called Zeely. I don't know, I'm calling her Zeely. She lives in this country where magic has been eradicated and there was a big massacre and magic kind of left the earth, and she remembers when there was magic and now she obviously knows when there wasn't. Things start to go crazy and her village gets attacked again, and so it's up to her and some other people she meets along the way to try and restore magic to this land, and it all kind of falls on her shoulders and things kind of start to go a bit wrong. It's insane. It's great. I loved the fact that it is obviously a diverse read and that it was kind of set in Africa with all the different tribes and Magi clans and just stuff that I completely haven't heard about before. I just thought it was incredible. What I will say is this did take me quite a while to get through. I feel like it was a really good book, but I think it was quite heavy fantasy. I love this book. I think if you love fantasy, it's incredible. But no, so yeah, that's a really bad description, but on the back it just says, "They killed my mother, they took our magic, they tried to bury us, now we rise." So if you love fantasy, I would definitely go for this. And right now I think it's also £4 on Amazon on Prime delivery, so hit that up. The next book that I read in 4 days, and I gave this 5 out of 5 stars, and that is Simon vs. the Homo Sapiens Agenda by Becky Albertalli. I love this book. I saw the trailer for it, which is Love, Simon. If you've seen the movie or seen the trailer, and I was like, I really want to read the book, because I don't really read many LGBT plus books. The only book I've read with kind of a bisexual main character is Trials of Apollo by Rick Riordan, so this is kind of a whole new ball game for me, and I didn't really know how I'd feel about it just because I've never read anything like that before, but I wanted to because obviously I want to read more books like this. It was incredible. It's about a guy called Simon who's 16 and nobody knows that he's gay. Their school has this Tumblr account and someone posts a poem on it, I think, implying that they're gay, and he comments on it and they start emailing. All is great. This guy is called Blue. That's not his real name, but that's just what Simon knows him as. Someone finds out and basically kind of blackmails Simon in order to keep Simon secret, and so it's about Simon kind of going through coming out and how to deal with it with his friends and his family, how to deal with it with not knowing who this guy is that he's talking to. It reaches the point where it gets out that Simon is gay, so he's got to deal with stupid kids at school being twats, and it's just kind of about like, why is straight the default? Why don't straight kids have to come out? Like, why didn't I have to sit my parents down and say I like boys, you know? And I just thought it was incredible, and the romance was so cute, and I wasn't expecting to love the romance as much as I did. I think I was worried I would find it slightly awkward just because obviously it's not what I relate to, but I loved this so much. I flew through it. 5 out of 5 stars, 10 out of 10 would recommend. Obsessed with it, absolutely love it. Definitely want to go and watch the movie now. I don't think it's still in cinemas, but I will find a way to watch it. So the next book I read was What I Thought Was True by Huntley Fitzpatrick, and I picked this up in my charity shop haul. I got it for £2 from a charity shop. I read this in one day. I read it on the Monday that we went to the airport. I started in the morning and then read the rest of it during my kind of 4-hour flight to Gran Canaria, and I gave this book a 3 out of 5 stars. It was good. I think I had higher expectations because I love Huntley Fitzpatrick's other book, and so I think I thought that this would be better than it was. It's about a girl called Gwen. She lives on this island. A boy that she kind of had a thing with and is a little bit awkward with is working on the island over summer. He's a rich boy and she's like not her family struggle, put it that way. Because it says on the back, but then Gwen learns something new. No, she doesn't. There's no big reveal with him. There's like a plot twist with other characters, but there's no big reveal with him. It started off being really cute, but then as it got on, as you found out the way him and his friends treated her originally, it's just so rude and misogynistic and using her. The thing for me is he uses her, they flirt, like each other, and then she finds out why he did what he did and he apologised for using her at the beginning. It shouldn't have gone that way. It should have gone, he used her, they talked about it, he apologised, or she just found out why, and then they started flirting. I just couldn't really get over the fact that she was kind of happily falling in love and lust with this boy who used her in such a bad way. The way that the book was written as well, you don't find out what their situation was until like halfway through, and so I think it's just a little bit confusing, and I think the structure could have been a little bit better. But apart from that, I loved the fact her brother Emery is different. There's nothing diagnosed wrong with him, but he's just different, and the way that they deal with that is amazing, and I love it, and I love him, and it's so cute. It was good contemporary. I was really in the mood for contemporary, so it was what I wanted, but it was a fat book. It's like nearly 500 pages, and I just gave it 3 out of 5 stars. It wasn't my favourite. Okay, so the second book I read on holiday was The Truth and Lies of Ella Black by Emily Barr, and I gave this a 4 stars. I think I would give it a 3.5. This is about a girl called Ella who goes to sixth form. All of a sudden her parents take her out of school, jet her off to Brazil. She's really confused and she's trying to figure out what's going on as well as dealing with problems herself. She has, I don't want to say split personality, but she has this person inside of her called Bella who's bad Ella, makes her do bad things, and so she's kind of dealing with that. No one knows about Bella, and so it's a mystery of finding out why her parents have taken her to Brazil. They're saying it's just a work trip, but you know it's not, and learning who she is and why she has Bella. It's just incredible. It was so different for me because the plot twists that happened were, when you find out the plot twist, I just think it was so well done and it actually made sense and it didn't seem stupid. I really loved it. I really loved it. Again, there was a bit of an unrealistic love story thing, but you know, it could happen. No, I did quite like this book. I think from like a psychological point of view, it was really interesting to kind of find out more about Bella and how Bella formed and all of that stuff. So I really liked this book. I gave it 3.5, 4 stars. On the third day of holiday, I read a book called The Hazel Wood by Melissa Albert. I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. This is about a girl called Alice who has been like on the run most of her life with her mother, and her grandmother is the author of this like exclusive kind of fairy tale books, but they're grim fairy tales in a way, and no one can really ever get their hands on these books, and Alice has never been able to read them, but the grandmother kind of haunts her life in a way. One day her mother is taken, she's stolen. It's all connected to the Hazelwood, which is where the grandmother lives, so it's all connected to that, and so she's been told by her mother to stay away from the Hazelwood. But obviously as soon as her mum was taken, she was like, right, I've got to find out what's going on, I've got to try and find my mother, and the world in her grandmother's book starts coming to life, but Alice doesn't know that because she's never read the book. So it's about that, and it's so dark. Like halfway through it gets creepy, and I do think it could have been possibly a little bit longer. It's 400 pages, but I don't know, I think because the real world and fantasy world was so separated, it was quite hard for me to get my head around the fantasy world once that whole thing started. I liked it. I think it's just a standalone book. I don't really see how there could be a second book, but I think if you want kind of delve into more fantasy where it's less princesses and knights and it's kind of more on the magic realism scale, but is dark and twisted. Dark and twisted is just how I would describe this. So I did really like this book. I think I'm really glad that I read it. 4 out of 5 stars. Read it again in one day because I was on holiday and I was sunbathing from like 9 to 5, so I had a lot of time on my hands. The next book is now one of my new favourite books of all time, and I love it so much and I really want to reread it. I read on the 4th day of holiday The Sun Is Also a Star by Nicola Yoon, and I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. I would give this 6 out of 6 stars if I could. I wasn't going to read this because I hated Everything by the same author. Not going to go into it. I kind of mentioned this in my charity book haul where I got this. I'll link that if you want to kind of hear my previous thoughts on Everything, just so I don't have to go back into that. But I loved this book. I've never read a book like it. I love it so much. I don't know how to describe it. It's about this girl called Natasha and this boy called Daniel. And Natasha is very facts, science, all of that. Daniel's very poetry, whimsical, blah 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 blah. She's an illegal Jamaican immigrant and he is a second generation Korean immigrant, both in America. I loved it. It's about him basically having some kind of religious epiphany, or so I call my experience, after he hears a guy on a train preaching about God. So he kind of follows that for the day, sees Natasha, meets her, talks to her, basically tries to get her to fall in love with him in that day. But because she doesn't believe in fate or love or anything like that, he says, what if I could get you to fall in love with me using science? I don't know if you've heard about it, I heard about it as well. There's certain questions that you can sit and ask a stranger, and then you stare at each other's eyes for 4 minutes, and it's been kind of proven that these people fall in love or something like that. And I'd heard about that in real life, so when I realised that it was becoming a thing in a book, I was like, oh, they don't have time for all of the questions, but they go through some of the questions, and I love Daniel, I love him, and I love Natasha, and I just loved them, and they just worked. And that's the thing, I've been talking about unrealistic romances. This is unrealistic. This book happens in the space of a day. This worked. This completely worked, and just following them. And the big thing hanging over them in this day is that Natasha's getting deported at the end of the day, and so it's about whether they can stop that happening, whether they can actually get to know each other and fall in love. It's incredible, honestly. Contemporary read of the summer, read this anytime. And the movie is being produced, it won't be out till like next year or the year after, and Charles Melton is playing Daniel, and it's going to be incredible, and he's going to be incredible. And oh, I was really out of breath, but if you take anything away from what I've said, please read this book. Amy, I'm looking at you. Please read this book. Everyone, please read this book. Oh, this is going to be a really long video. Okay, so next book I read over the 5th and 6th days of holiday, because I went for 7 days but I only brought 6 books. I read Scythe by Neil Shusterman, mainly because Reagan off of Peruse Reads. If you watch BookTube, you'll know who Reagan is. She's incredible. She recommends this with her dying breath. So much that she's like forcing her boyfriend to read it. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. I think I thought it'd be better than it was, but it was still incredible. Basically, it's about these 2 people called Citra and Rowan, and they live in a world where all the evil things are gone. So there's no murder, there's no death, there's nothing. The only way that people can die is if they're killed by a scythe, and it's called gleaning, not killing, because it's, you know, they have to do it. And basically Citra and Rowan get picked to be scythe apprentices. It's about learning the art of killing people, and so the best scythes are the ones who don't want to be a scythe. You follow them about learning that actually there is a lot of politics within the scythe community, and it's not as clean cut and good and wholesome as everyone thinks it is, and morality questions, and, you know, trying to figure out what is right, what is wrong, what is good for the country, what's bad for the country, what's good for yourself, what's bad for you. The fantasy world was incredible. I loved the characters. I loved that romance isn't the focus. It's about them as people going through life in this like period of time and trying to figure out their morals. If you want to hear more about this, just find Reagan online. She will recommend this in like any of her videos. And then on the 6th and 7th day of holiday, I read Holding Up the Universe by Jennifer Niven, and I gave this 4 stars. Thank you, Imi, for the recommendation. Imi is my friend who I love, and she reads contemporary books, so we kind of recommend each other contemporary books. I love this book. So it's about a boy called Jack who is face blind, and nobody knows he's face blind, but it basically means that he could see you, look away, and look back, and you're a different person. He doesn't remember your face. The only way he knows who you are is through identifiers, so things like your hair, the way you talk, if you have big ears, if you have a big nose, but we can't picture it in his head when he's not looking. It's also about a girl called Libby, who a few years ago was America's fattest teen. She had to be cut out of her house by a crane, and it's about them and their paths crossing and their different struggles in life, because she's trying to go back to high school, you know, being obese, and Jack is trying to get through high school with people not knowing he's face blind and trying to carry on this persona of like not caring about the world. You know, he's got a girlfriend, everything's chill, everything's good, but he doesn't remember what his girlfriend looks like. So that can cause problems, because he could cheat on her but not realise he's cheating on her. From a psychological point of view, I'm trying to get more into reading books about different people's perspectives that I don't personally relate to, because it can kind of help me empathise and get into their shoes, if that makes sense. Like, imagine walking into your house and not recognising your mum. But no, I love this book. It was so cute. Again, I was in such a contemporary mood, so this was incredible. I really loved it. I just can't say enough good words about it. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I think I didn't give it a 5 because I just read The Sun Is Also a Star, and that was like top of the level for me, so I didn't quite compare to that for me, but it was still incredible, and I'm so glad I read it. And it's so good with the message of you are important no matter what anyone tells you. So that was the last book that I read in June. The book I'm currently reading is The Book Thief by Marcus Zuzak, but I'm only like 150 pages in now, 500, so I will include that in next month's wrap up. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like and subscribe, it would mean the world to me. If you have any recommendations that you think I would like from the books that I've talked about, please feel free to leave them down below. I would love to hear them and check them out. And if you look into getting any of the books that I've mentioned, please let me know, because that makes my heart super happy. But yeah, so that's all for today. I hope you all had an amazing day. I'm going to love you and leave you, and I will see you hopefully next Monday with another video.